the external reviews have been pretty intense. What's it been like internally this week?
Pretty intense.
Has there been some home truths? When you look back at the game, did you find that the effort just wasn't good enough?
You know, it's always interesting because our high performance guys, they tell us that was our hardest running game of the year. So the effort's there. It's the where the effort comes and why it has to come. And if you're slow in this game to react, you can get out of position and end up having to do a lot more running than ideally you would need to. So it all comes back to being really switched on, understanding what we're doing, getting better at what we're trying to do, and a lot of that stuff will take care of itself.
Has the skill level surprised you a bit in the first 3 weeks in terms of the the constant missing targets, and has that been a focus this week as well?
Yes. Has it? Certainly, some of our skill error has been a bit alarming at times, but we've done all the numbers on that and the research, and it's not any one or two players in particular, and it's not catastrophic at the moment. So yeah, it's not a big focus, but obviously it's one of the things we work on every week.
And is it one of those things that you're confident it can sort of remedy itself pretty quickly?
Yeah, look, our aim is we've worked all summer on playing a brand of footy we want to play, and we've seen bits of it. We haven't seen it 100% of the time, and that's what we're building towards. That takes time. So we're 3 weeks into the season, and we're learning all the time. I have players like Dev Smith saying, I didn't realise that he was doing something that he's done in the past, and he's learning about how to communicate with his teammates and that building that understanding. So yeah, this is about sticking at it, working through it, and there will be some teething problems. And we've had a couple of teething problems in 2 weeks. Hopefully we don't have them for the whole year, but if they're there for much longer, we'll keep working through them.
Is accountability an issue?
In what way?
Chasing. Well, it was highlighted on 360 last night. The forwards, once they lost the ball, didn't run back to help out the defenders.
Yeah, sure. That really would depend on the situation. That if those forwards men were down the ground impacting and being extra numbers, then that's an issue for us. We've addressed a lot of the way we defended the game. That includes how our forwards defended, how our mids defended, and how our backs defended the game, and we were just off in all those areas.
I mean, the ball also seems to sort of exit your 450 quite easily on Sunday. Is that a blip or a trend thing? And if it is a trend thing, would you consider possibly restructuring, maybe moving the hooker down back and add a bit more, sort of smaller guys to increase the pressure up forward? You know what I mean?
I do know what you mean. Yeah, play a small forward line, and that'll increase the pressure. Yeah, but they won't mark it. So there's a trade-off. We're assessing that all the time. I've touched on it a few times that this squad has changed a lot in the last 2 years. With Josh Green, James Stewart weren't here a couple of years ago. We've added in Stringer, Sard, and Smith. So if you consider that 2 or 3 years ago, Stewart and Stringer weren't on our list. We have to now assess, and unfortunately that takes a little bit to work through what the best mix is going to be. So we're working through that now. We've had a couple of pre-season games where we didn't have the whole list together, but 3 games now to have a look at things, and we will move to say what's our ultimately going to be our best team to go forward and become a great team.
So will you stick with the 4 tall forwards?
Is Stringer a tall? You count him as a tall? Yeah. If you count him as a tall, then there's times we'll have 4 tall forwards up there.
How do you think Zach Merritt's handling the close attention this year? Do you think his teammates could give him a bit more of a chop out?
In what way?
Just help him out defensively around the contest, block for him a bit more?
Block for him. Our mids have specific roles and structures they play, so there's always times where different mids will block for other mids. We're not just going to block for Zach Merritt, we're going to work for each other. So nothing will change there. Our focus is not on thinking we need to help Zach Merritt get more possessions. We want Zach to help us be a great team, and we'll help him become a great player as well.
Could he be more proactive in getting away from those taggers a little bit more?
How do you do that?
Well, run a bit harder.
You want him to run 16 or 17 kilometres?
The club could help him out a bit more, and he could probably do himself a few more favours in that regard.
Yeah, I'm not sure. There's plenty of ways we're helping Zach. So when you say, can we help Zach out, there's an enormous amount of help going on. This morning I spoke to Zach. 2 days ago different players spoke with Zach. His teammates are around him. So he's got plenty of support and he's got a role to play on game day. And our expectation is our players play their role, and that's what we're looking for.
What do you say?
In terms of his running, he was maybe in our top 3 runners on the weekend. So it's not just about running and trying harder for Zach. He's trying pretty hard. He's learning. I've seen through the history of the game a lot of good young midfielders. When they don't get tagged early on, they start becoming very good midfielders. They get tagged, they go through a period of sometimes weeks, sometimes years, until they either come out of it and have really deal with it well. That doesn't mean they play poorly. They still play really good footy. They might not get the high 30 possessions for a while, but they can still contribute to a successful team.
As a coach, what have you said to Connor McKenna this week?
I've said things happen in footy. We make wrong decisions at times, and we deal with the consequences. We don't dwell on it. Focus on being better and going forward.
Do you ask him why?
No.
How come?
I don't really want to know why. Like, do you reckon in that heat of that moment, in that fraction of a second that happened after he's just sprinted for 100 metres, got run down, disappointed with a tackle, bloke's pulling him down on top of him, he's trying to get off and something happens in like a fraction of a second, you think he thought through it?
I don't know. I'm just asking a question. It's a strange thing. It's a strange thing to do, isn't it, on a football field? It's only happened a few times before. It's a very strange thing to do.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Why did it happen previous times? Who knows? Why have players been reported for hitting guys off the ball, fraction of a second, brain fade, lack of concentration, fatigue, stress. There's a lot of factors that go into it. I can't answer exactly, and I don't know if Connor would be able to answer that, but he takes
that sort of stuff though from your playing days, John. Not biting, but the split second decision to do something that you probably regret.
Geez, you tested me out there. Yeah. No, it's we all make mistakes. Yeah, I made. Don't worry, I kicked the ball to the opposition. I spoiled when I should have marked. I took hangs when maybe I should have spoiled. Anyway, you know where I'm going.
That's a good mistake.
Yeah, that's right.
So he comes out, and who are you looking to possibly come in? Ambrose or maybe Hartley? Or
yeah, well, Ambrose has been past fit, providing he gets through today. Hartley's available. Ben McNeese is now available as well. Mm-hmm. So there's certainly names that we'll look at. Some good young names in the VFL. Mason Redmond played really well on the weekend. Jordan Ridley's getting back to full match fitness, and he's an exciting young player as well.
Would McGrath and Heppel possibly rotate a bit back there throughout the game at stages?
Possibly, yeah. McGrath played a little bit more back last week, rotated back there more heavily.
Aaron Francis, a chance to turn the VFL?
Not this week, no. That's mapped out. I can't remember the exact week, but yeah, he's tracking really well.
Sooner than later.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
What stands out with this particular opposition that you have to do pretty well?
Well, they're a pretty talented team. They're now a very mature team. They've shored up areas in their lineup through the draft and the trade that they wanted to. So they're a pretty well-balanced team now. So it's going to be across the board. They've got a very good midfield, star-studded forward line, lining up, and a back line that's really defends strongly together. So overall, we've just got to play our best footy and see how we measure up against them.
Probably the first time since you've been here that the team's had a real, externally the heat's been put on, you've been as a coach as well. Does it filter through? Do the players are aware of it?
I'm sure the players are aware that they haven't performed well and they get criticised, yeah, absolutely. But that external criticism is based on limited sort of knowledge and things like that. So, yeah, I always think that the best thing to do is to take it on board. Good feedback is invaluable. So take it on board, filter through it, take out of areas that you believe might, if you've missed something and someone's given you that feedback, that's awesome. You've learned something that maybe you oversaw. But we cover things off pretty tightly. So I wouldn't think there was too much raised outside the club that we're not aware of and working on.
You mentioned there have been some teething problems, which we all understand, but I guess in such an even competition, there's a real urgency to get it right ASAP because it can slip away pretty quickly.
Yeah, it can, yep. But you can revert back to some basic old stuff, and maybe we could have won the same number of games this year if we just stuck with what we were doing last year and still been the 12th best defensive team and an exciting team and finish 8th again. Or we can challenge ourselves that we've got to adjust and get better and become a great team, and that's what we're working towards. And hopefully that happens this year, and if it doesn't happen this year, the aim is that we're going to be really close to that next year. Yep. That's what we're working towards. That could happen at any time. We're at round 1, we're 1 game off second spot. We're in the hunt still, so we're in the hunt to be a good team this year. There was some talk about, I'm not sure whether it was about expectations of the team. From what I understood, most of the experts have rated Essendon just inside the top 8. We're going to try and outdo that, but first thing is let's see how good we can get, plan the way we want to play as quickly as we can.
Earlier in the week, Raz said that possibly Hep could do with a bit more support in terms of leadership on the ground when things possibly aren't going the team's way. Was that a focus this week as well?
That was raised. We talked about that, So Orazio told us that he felt the forward line guys in particular, obviously where he spends most of his time, were pretty quiet during the game. So that's an area we can get better at.
How have you viewed Darcy Parrish's start to the year?
I thought he's been good start, good pre-season, good start to the year, and then the last couple of weeks he hasn't impacted at the same level. So overall, I would like to think he's won a bit more of the footy, but again, that's part of us getting that understanding of how we're working together, and I think that'll come through.
Is he kicking the ball more than trying to more 50-50 handball kicking? Or?
I think his numbers are probably about the same as last year, I would guess at the moment. I haven't had a close look at that.
What gives you the confidence you'll get the right response this week?
They're a good young group of players that want to do their absolute best. So I've got no doubt they'll be out giving it everything this week, and then it's what the result of that response is going to be is an unknown. We're playing against a pretty good team, but I've got no doubt the response will be working harder as a unit to play the way they want to play.